Hello, friends. Welcome to Quarantine Time with Galen, talking about relevant stuff, sharing some positive stories and creative ways that teams can stay connected right now and people can just navigate this time at home and be more awesome to each other, sharing resources and stuff like that. So if you are here, chime in, check in with a comment, say hello. Would love to hear where you are located and what company you work for, all that kind of stuff. Dana's here. Good morning. Yes. DCP Training and Development, Talent Development. Hi, Shauna. Hi, Dana. Ow. I love regular people. It's great to see you. I do have tea. I know I've been off the tea train. I've been rolling some coffee the last few weeks, but I'm back on tea. The sweet coconut Thai that I love. That tea is so good. So that's what I've got. And a chance to show off my sweet mug. Hold it up. This is a Pacific Northwest Native American artist that does this cool stuff, and I found this mug and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. It's so beautiful. The artwork is beautiful and it's a kraken. So I think actually this mug is what kicked off I want to get a bunch of mugs with krakens on them. I have a kraken themed bathroom, so I went through a kraken kick for a while, and I still have krakens. So anyways, back on tea. We did an Instagram poll that was, hi Mari. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. So our Instagram poll this week was light side or dark side of the Force in Star Wars, and we currently have 60% people on the light side, 40% people ish on the dark side. So I go back and forth on that one. I mean, the dark side would be cool, but it's obviously bad, and you shouldn't do it. So definitely, light side, rebel, the Alliance. Fight the power. That's me for sure. But if people are here, check in. I'd love to hear. Light side, dark side, give us a vote. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get started with a couple stories. Some really cool stories and stuff this week that I love. Who else is here? Elwanda. Hello, in the Woodlands in Texas. Oh, great. Thanks for tuning in. Great to see you. Port Houston. Very cool. Port of Houston. Yeah. Lovely. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so we're going to get right into some positive stories, share some things I came across. There was a lot this time around to choose between sort of stories. So, but a couple of cool that I sort of sparked my interest. I thought were neat. There's someone made a giant life-size sidewalk version of Monopoly, like the Monopoly board, in Edmonton, Alberta. Canada represent, and it looks amazing. I think we'll share a link to the thing so you can see it. But someone chalked it all out on the sidewalk, and it's really, really great detail. It looks beautiful. So I thought that was a really cool thing. People are just getting out there, being creative and doing stuff, and it's really impressive. So light side, of course. Force is with me always. All right, Dana, rocking the light side. You got to, man. The Empire, they're evil, so you got to fight them. Cool. Next story here. Whole Foods is going to be giving away free disposable face masks to all shoppers at all stores nationwide. That's a cool thing. I know right now, as stores and different retail places start to reopen, they're thinking about precautions and PPE stuff and protecting workers and that kind of stuff. So good. And, I know that this is heavily sort of politicized kind of thing, but remember that the precautions that you have to take as a shopper, as a retail person going in, are to protect the people that work there, because if they're interacting with hundreds of people all day, and those people, some of them are taking it very seriously, some of them aren't, and they're like, it's a joke, and they might be sick. So to protect workers, I think that's the main important thing. So yay, and kudos to all the companies that are doing that, prioritizing that. I think it's important because workers matter. They're the lifeblood of our entire economy, this whole country. So yay for that. Here's a cool story. In Killeen, Texas, a guy used his whole stimulus check to feed his whole neighborhood. So he did a big barbecue thing. There's about 160 people that got fed from that. It was a really cool story. It looked like a super fun thing, and they did a big barbecue, and I thought that was very, very cool thing to do. Again, there's so many thousands and thousands of stories like that are happening out there. So it's good to remember people are doing great things and taking care of each other and looking after each other, and it's fantastic. So another story, some out there. Trevor Noah from The Daily Show is they've got about 25 staff members on the show that are furloughed right now because obviously they're not filming in studio and all that stuff, and he personally is paying their salaries in the meantime until the show comes back on air. So just a very cool thing to do, to step up and do that. It's not not something that has to be done. Just people taking it upon themselves to like take care of the people that support them, and like businesses, leaders, people that are doing that right now. Just a huge shout out. So I thought that was a cool thing. Tracy's here. Hello, Tracy. Thanks for tuning in. Cool. And one more, I've got one more story that I thought was neat. Just another one. A woman, I'm not sure where this sign was. I think it might be in Seattle, but I poured through the story 4 or 5 times. I could not find the location of it. But the writer was in Seattle, so I think it's a Seattle thing. But a woman made a sign telling neighbors to start silly walking. And so she put signs, this woman put these signs up that it basically says that you're now entering the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Silly Walks, which is a shout out to like John Cleese and those kids over there. But yeah, and that's like now you have to immediately begin silly walking, and there's an Instagram page that is yorkshire.silly.walks, and it's people walking across and like doing all kinds of fun silly walks, but just like a way to very easily and a silly way to sort of like bring some joy and get people to sort of like shake out of, you know, whatever space that they're in and do something cool and like connect as human beings. I thought that was a really cool story, and the walks of people, kids, it's fun and great. Yeah. Oh, and that story came from Shauna. Thank you, Shauna, for sharing that story. We've been asking people to share cool stories and things that they come across so that we can share them here. So thank you for sending that to us. So good. We're going to kind of move into different creative ideas, things that I've heard about people doing, or ways that you can sort of like navigate being at home. Oh, hi, Julia. Yay. Thanks for tuning in. Cool. So, yeah, a couple things I've seen, a number of different stories from friends and online of doing this story time, like reading books and doing like funny voices and story time for like kids. I've seen like a couple like grandparents and uncles and aunts and just people that have like nieces or nephews or whatever that they're apart from, but like reading stories and doing cool voices and like making videos like that. That's really cool. I saw another one that was it went viral. It was a couple of like, it looked like grandparents, and they were doing the arms game, which is like kind of an improv thing where you have like one person sitting there and the other person like has their arms and they're like operating their arms, and this guy's like trying to eat cereal. Just like pouring cereal and dumping things on his face, and it just, you can't watch something like that and have it not like spark a lot of joy. It's funny and ridiculous. It's like milk splashing everywhere, but like funny, silly, creative things like that for somebody else. Not only are things like that really like, you know, thoughtful, to be like, hey, I was thinking about you, I made this weird thing for you, or this interesting thing or whatever, but it also like, it helps to shake us out of the space that we're in, right, too, to like gather up the energy and get some props and do some stuff, and just like, you know, it just, you can't do that without also laughing and enjoying it and having a good time. And I think any of those opportunities, not just now during all this stuff, but like always, all the time, to like be silly, be creative, like find ways to like have joy and do something weird and different and creative and fun. It's just like, that is always so critical to like mental health and just, you know, the world. You can go through your entire life, getting up, going to work, coming home, watching TV, going to bed, and like rinse and repeat. It's like, you can also just like take a little bit of time, do things that cost you nothing. Everybody has a cell phone. You can record things and send them to people. And I just, you know, it's not bad if you don't do it. But it's an easy, simple way to like, you know, show other people that you care about them, that you're thinking about them. And like also, you know, I think right now, pull us out of being stuck at home and so isolated. So I saw a couple stories like that. I thought they were really, really cool. And just as a sort of like tie-on example to that, there's a story that we came across in Maryland of a guy. He's posting like a daily bad dad joke in his front yard and like taking pictures of it, and people are like, you know, it's just like becoming a thing in the neighborhood. But the story behind that was that he was having a really rough time, like in quarantine and being isolated and feeling like da-da-da, and then heard about someone else doing the same thing and loves dad jokes. And so like he started doing the same thing and doing his own, and it just apparently like was just a really positive sort of like lift and boost for him to like have this thing to focus on and do that's fun and creative and like kind of like pulls us out of a funk. And I think that's, getting pulled out of funk is important always, especially now. So some cool stuff. And the other thing like teams are doing, just as a last before I move on from this, is like the other thing that you can do if you're a team, part of a work, whatever, is give people a break, give them a time off, like let them take a day and not do any work. Like just, we've all been in this now for a while, and it, you know, it hits people in different ways. And like, I think give everybody a break, let them like not work and do whatever, or screw off. Last week my team, we did the house app thing, and we just did Pictionary together and just like had some time having fun. So don't forget that. And all of those things kind of tie into the affirmation. So in April, I was talking about the affirmation challenge that Carrie on my team runs on Instagram. And they're at Affirmation Destination is the handle. They did a 30-day challenge, and there was like a new affirmation every day. Now they're switching. It's the first week in May. And they switched to doing affirmations per week instead of every day. And this week's affirmation is joy belongs to me. And I really love that because I think it's true. It's like, again, just what I was just talking about. You can sit around and wait for something to come along to make you happy, or you can make the choice to do something and engage in something that will make you happy or make other people happy as a result. And I think like there is a lot of kind of self-empowerment and feeling in that of like you do have control over just doing something thoughtful for somebody else or something like that. And again, you don't have to. You can sit around and watch TV and do whatever. But it's like I think those things are really positive, and it is really something that you can take control of yourself. So just, I think it's good. It's good stuff. I've been doing a reading, watch, and listen list as well. So got a couple. Number one, for reading list, a book that I recommend all the time in the work that I do with teams and leadership and organizations. I was on a call this morning with a client and I talked about this book again. It is the book Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. It does not matter if you're a leader. Sorry. I got crud. So it doesn't matter if you're the leader in an organization. If you're a human being and you have relationships with other human beings, which is like every person watching this, that book is phenomenal. It's Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. It's like it's such a total mindset shift about how we approach conversations that are challenging for us. And like nobody is born skillfully being able to have conversations that are difficult, but you have to navigate this world having romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, and there are challenging conversations that we all have to have. And I think to level up your own like ability as a human being to like navigate static and conflict, which is like inevitable and natural and normal, but do it in a more skillful way that is more collaborative, that's more positive, that like checks yourself and your own language and give you some tools and skills to do that, is like do that. You can level up it will affect the rest of your entire life because you will continue to have relationships with people, whether they're coworkers or your spouse, and like the ability to like talk through things. There's a couple really, really key points in that book that I love. One is that like nobody owns 100% of the truth, which is true. And it just, there's so many nuggets of wisdom in that book. So like highly recommend reading that book. And the second one, for a watch list, this one is an oldie, but a goodie. It's a movie I thought of recently. It's The Botany of Desire. It's a documentary and it covers 4 different things. It covers tulips, apples, potatoes, I think, and then marijuana. And it's like, it just talks about plants, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Even if you don't love science and all that kind of stuff, it's just really, really fascinating. It's about like how plants sort of manipulate human beings and sort of like survive and thrive, and it's just fascinating. So highly recommend that. And then for listen, so there's a group of, they're called Crooked Media Podcasts, and they have a group of different podcasts. This shirt, friend of the pod, is from that. Pod Save America, Love It or Leave It is brilliant. John Lovett, he's a former speechwriter for Obama. He's hilarious and great, and they Love It or Leave It is a really great podcast. It's funny. They bring on comedians that are guests. They talk about like political stuff, but it's not like heavy and depressing. It's very fun. They're charming and lovely. So recommend that. All the Crooked Media, and they do a lot of cool stuff too. They register people to vote. They do a lot of cool initiatives around just like cool political stuff. And like, yes, they are definitely very like on the liberal leaning side. So if you're a staunch Republican Fox News kind of person, you'll probably hate it, but it's fantastic. I'm going to take another sip of tea as quietly as possible because slurping is a deal, and I've got a fancy mic in front of me. Okay, cool. Moving on to the last piece. I know that I've talked a lot, but a couple resources, and we'll share links to these resources. But Libby is an app. If you have a library card, you can use the app to listen and download audiobooks at no cost. And I think you can get a library card online. So it's just an app for you, something that's a resource. Another one, there is Insight Timer, which is a website. They have a ton of different guided meditations that are all different lengths, all different topics. There's like one about sleep, there's stress, anxiety, just relaxation. There's a ton of stuff, and there's just a myriad of different speakers and people, different voices, and that's just like, it's a great resource. So you can check out some stuff. Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, she's got one on there for 20 minutes. So there's a lot of stuff on there. It's a great resource. So in closing, because we're at the 15-minute mark, um, I just want to like kind of wrap it up and talk about a couple things. Normally, I've been taking this moment to talk about some stuff that's like been on my mind or rolling around my head lately, and just to share kind of a personal story. I think that this entire time of being in quarantine, last Friday and Saturday, for me, were terrible. They were the worst days that I've had so far. I was like totally physically, emotionally, mentally just drained, exhausted, totally wrung out and completely done. And it was okay. It was like I was like, I'm having the shittiest days ever, and I felt like crap, and I was like, I just want to nap and do nothing. And like I've been talking about, just for me to like just experience that, have it okay. I feel great today. Yesterday I felt better. It's like, and I know even in those times, I'm like, I know I'm gonna feel fine on Monday or Tuesday, and like that this is just the weather, right? It's passing through. This is not like a permanent thing to feel so shitty, but I felt super shitty. And also like connecting with my team this morning and being able to share that with them and talk about that, and like, and they've all been through it, right? We're all at different times, we're experiencing these things, and they've all had really crappy days and days where they're on top of the world and feeling great. And so like I know that they're all here watching this and like and chiming in, and like just like so much love to you guys for being so supportive. But I think that's so important for us as a team, and I think about every team out there and family, friends. It's like we have to support each other at different times when we need it, and the ability to be able to just share and be authentic and real about like, man, this sucked for me, I'm having a shitty time, and like lean on each other and hold each other up when we need it is so important, because we're human beings. We all need that like love and connection. So as much as possible, it's like reach out, support each other, and like thank you to my team. And also just like, it's real as shit. This stuff is not going to last forever. Things are starting to open up. Like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, things are going to feel so normal again. But in the meantime, it really sucks, and there's a lot of things that are going on that are great, and some of them are terrible, and just all of those things. So we're all in the mix of, we're in the middle of a storm, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. A couple things, every Monday, every Thursday at 11 a.m. PDT, we're going live doing this. If you have stories about things that your team are doing, or like positive stories that you hear out there, like send us a message or a DM. We're on all social media channels for the most part. Share those with us, and yeah, just like, I love you guys. If you're interested, every week we have something called the Culture Drop. I drop a video. It's like 2 or 3, 4 minutes long, maybe, talking about teams, leadership, culture, communication, feedback, conflict, all kinds of stuff that is like relevant to businesses. But you can sign up on my website at shiftyes.com. You can Google and look that. But yeah, it's like spam free. It's 1 email a week, Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. for like a couple minutes of your week to just give you some training, a thought, a mindset, some skills. So cool. That is it. I'm gonna log off. But thank you all for being here. Again, I love you so much. Take care of yourselves. Take care of other people around you. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.